Today we are going to talk about a big update coming from Etias. The date for that to be implemented has been scooted back. We've got a crew member overboard. We're also going to talk about MSC, what we are looking at with cancellations with travel to the region of the world by Israel and that whole area. We also have got some updates on the Regal Princess, Holland America updates as well, some things to think about, firsthand experience of is one day early enough to leave to fly in on our cruises anymore. So we've got a lot to talk about today. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips, and today is Monday. It is October 23rd of 2023. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, we would love to have you subscribe. Love to have you part of the conversation. I look forward to your comments and seeing you here as often as possible. Also, if you appreciate my updates, will you please give this video a thumbs up? Thank you very much. Now, this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going to have our live. We figured we would answer any other questions you've got about the Island Princess, sailing to Norway. Lots of things to think about when you choose your Norwegian sailing, so I wanted to talk to you about that. We also are going to answer any questions, talk together about everything to do with cruising, the new pricing Princess has been talking about, that we have a lot to talk about together, so I look forward to seeing you this evening. Let's start at the top talking about the ETIAS. So the ETIAS stands for the European Travel Information and Authorization System. Some of the news outlets and people just on YouTube talk about it as a visa. It is similar to a visa because it's your travel authorization to enter a country, right? It's different than visas have been historically. Historically, visas are required for entry to certain countries for people from other certain countries. And the European Union, a long time ago, it's been several years ago, came up with this idea, and it is just taking longer and longer to implement than we originally expected. So last year and earlier this year, I was keeping an eye on it, and it kept saying November of 2024 is when that was going to come online. Then that date came off of their official website. Then we saw that it was going to just be in 2024. Some people thought it meant it started at the beginning of 2024, but that date has never been put out there. Officially, they have updated the date, and now it says May of 2025. Please know that I'll keep you up to date on all of that, but clearly the earliest it'll be is May of 2025. I have looked at the website. They are not accepting applications for it or anything now, but they do, ever since the inception of the idea, they have talked about how quick it would be to implement, and that it is, I believe, about €7 in order to sign up, unless they change that by the time it rolls around to start doing that. But it will be a really simple process, very straightforward. Once you do it, it's good for 3 years, unless your passport expires in that window of those 3 years. Then you'll just have to do it again when you get your new passport. But I know that some people have been worrying about it. I still get emails about it, so I wanted to let you know that you don't need to worry about that for the time being. Okay, we've got over a year and a half pretty much, until we'll have to start worrying about that. Now, Ada Cruise Line, however you want to say that, the Perla was in the English Channel, and a crew member went overboard. So immediately the captain started doing maneuvers, circling back, doing everything they could to look for that crew member. And as the latest thing that I can find about it here on Monday, they have not found that crew member yet. The U.S. Coast Guard actually started helping with their helicopters and boats, so quite a huge rescue attempt has been underway as they search for that crew member that went overboard. The reason that I tell you about this is honestly because I feel like his or her family members can sure use our prayers, as can that person if they're still alive in the water, and I'll keep my eye out. I will keep my eye out for any updates on that story, but just wanted to let you know about that. It happens too often, doesn't it? It makes us really sad, and truly my heart goes out to the crew member's family. Another update, I'm going to tell you about this. If you're new around here, I generally don't report on a lot of the crazy things that happen in cruising just because it's funny. But you know what? I'm going on Carnival in 2 weeks for the very first time. And I am not only going on Carnival, but I have an inside cabin. It's because I was late booking for the convention that I'm attending, and that's all they had left. I put in for an upgrade, but seems like everybody's keeping their balconies. And so I'm going to be in an interior on that cruise. And I came across a news story that a passenger on the Carnival Magic, they were sailing out of Norfolk, was where they were imported for that cruise. In the theater area, one passenger hurt the other passenger with their bar glass, and initially it was reported as a stabbing. So it sounds like the glass broke, and the person that received that injury was treated by the medical team. Once they got back to port, the FBI came on board because that's what happens when things like that occur on board a ship. And they haven't released a lot of information about it, but they did. The cruise line in the reports, it said that the person that hurt the other person, that passenger was being held, of course. And so I guess I don't know really. I'm really actually expecting to enjoy Carnival. I know it's a different cruise experience than Princess, but I am really looking forward to trying it out. I don't think that I'll have any trouble with getting hurt when I'm on board the ship, and I think that's part of why I reported on that. These things happen very few and far between. They never tell the whole story. You never really know why one passenger did that to another passenger, but I try to lay low when I'm on a cruise ship. I don't get in the middle of anything, and hopefully that will serve me well. But I'm really excited to give Carnival a try. You know, a while ago, Tony did that video. This just came to my mind now as I'm talking to you about this, about how maybe cruise lines can be categorized or characterized by what their passengers do on board. And I have had a whole lot of thoughts about that, and I've wondered what I've thought of not only with Carnival, if you hear if there's a fight on board or this instance, but at the same time, there are so many people that are just happy to be there, don't bother anyone. They just get on the ship. They have a wonderful cruise. And of course, that's never reported. It's just these really outlying events. So I don't think of Carnival and think of fighting or anything like that. I think of Carnival, and I just think of Carnival like I'm going to go try their ship out. I get to go on the celebration. I think it's going to be fun. But then I also thought of, well, what does that mean, like categorizing Princess, right? Based on what their passengers' behavior is. And it's really interesting. As you go on different cruises, you have sometimes different demographics, which can really impact the overall flow, the feeling of the cruise in some instances. So down below, tell me what you think about all that. Do you think that people's behavior categorizes, like puts a cruise line into a certain category? What do you think of when you think of different cruise lines? Okay, I think that would be fun for us to talk about together. Now, we also have a lot of talk about what is going on with cruises that had originally been scheduled to go to Israel, to go to Egypt, to other destinations over in that region of the world. And with everything that is going on with the war with Israel and with Gaza, that whole situation, that is truly impacting cruise itineraries. And I am really clear that that is the least of our, whether or not your ship goes there is way less important than what is going on there. So don't think I have that confused. But I do want to let you know that MSC has changed their whole winter program on the MSC Orchestra. They were planned to be in the Red Sea from November to April. So this November through April of 2024. And some of the ship's ports that they were going to call in, truly being in the Red Sea, were in proximity to everything that's going on there. So they have canceled those. And if people were booked on those cruises, they can go ahead and go on the rescheduled cruise. They're going to be releasing the itineraries for what they're going to do instead, or they can have a refund for their money. All right. And then there are other MSC cruises that have also been impacted by what's going on there in that region. And they talk about the grand voyages for the MSC Virtuosa, the MSC Opera, and the MSC Splendida. They've also got 2 11-night sailings for the MSC Harmonia, which are also going to be, those itineraries are going to be tweaked so that they don't call in ports where there would be any concern about safety for the passengers, the crew, or the ship. Now, along with that, and then we're going to get to a couple of other updates, I have received an email and seen in comments and over on Facebook, people wondering truly, and you do look at different itineraries when you book your cruise, and sometimes you want to be a little bit more flexible than others if your itinerary changes, right? And often we look at bucket list cruises as something that we book, particularly to go to those places. And that is truly what our group cruise that is going to sail October 11th of 2024 on the Celebrity Silhouette. We were going to have 3 days in Israel and 2 days in Egypt. And that honestly is why I chose that cruise, and why a lot of people that booked that cruise to come with us chose it, because they wanted to get to go to Israel and Egypt. We are still too far out for Celebrity to make that call, and I honestly see why. It's a year away, and so a lot can happen in a year. As it gets closer, if things going on in that region stay the same as they are, I'm sure they will pull those ports. Now, I don't know what all of the cruise lines are going to allow when it comes to if you don't like the changes that they make to the itinerary, if you can cancel for a full refund. That is really something that we're going to have to see. When Celebrity and Royal Caribbean first made those changes to the ships that were going to sail there immediately, like this October, they let people out. They let them have a full refund if they wanted to, but not all the cruise ships do that. And so truly, it's really hard to know what they're going to do. This is a really unusual time for all that. So we're just going to have to keep our eye out. And if any of you are booked on any of those cruises and receive any information, please do let me know so I can share that. And I will let you know as we receive any information on that cruise that we have got scheduled there. I know that, for example, Celebrity does those fabulous cruises to Israel and Egypt. They do them in the spring as well as in the fall. And I wanted to do it in the spring, but we have our Eclipse cruise, and I'm not trading that for anything. And so it'll be interesting to see what they do with those cruises. They have not officially changed those cruises yet, as well as lots of other cruise lines call in that region as well. So we'll just have to see what happens. I do want to say, though, and I said it before, on that October 11th sailing that we've got next year, if they switch that all, which they will have to do if that conflict does not resolve there, and just take us to ports in Greece, I'm still going to go. I am not going to miss the chance to go there for anything. As I think about how things change in the world and how things change with us individually and our ability to travel, either because of our health or other circumstances, and then what goes on in the world, how that might impact the ports that we're able to go to, the places that I love to go, or that I know that I want to go, I'm still going to go to those places until I can't anymore. And so let me know what you think about that. Are the changes over there and what's going on, is that impacting your choices? I have had a few cruises that people booked to the Mediterranean that they have canceled. I am not ready to do that yet. And I know it's your own personal level of what causes you stress. You don't want to go on a cruise and worry the whole time. That is not a vacation. And our cruise that goes to Greece next is not until February, so I'll keep you up to date with how all that goes. And I'll add that the war is not in Greece anyway. So, but it's closer to Greece. Greece is closer to Israel than the United States is, and so I think that probably has something to do with it. Alrighty, so a couple of updates. First, we're going to talk about the Regal Princess. So as of right now, I checked right before I did my video, the Regal Princess is still on her way over to Fort Lauderdale. She was due to be in at 5 a.m. tomorrow, but she is now not going to be arriving until 8:30. And that is going to affect, clearly, people being able to catch their flights. So a couple of things about that. First of all, if you are booked on that Regal Princess to sail out tomorrow, once the ship gets in, they go through all the process they need to do because it's a transatlantic that is bringing the Regal Princess there. You are not going to even need to be at the port anytime before noon. But along with that, to me, this is such a reminder, and we just booked our flights for the Eclipse cruise in and out of LAX, and we were trying to decide how early, because you want to balance that thing. It's hard to wait in the airport all day long, but you don't want to get your flights too early in the morning. And the cruise lines will usually say don't get a flight out before 1 if they have an early arrival there, and sometimes 3. And so keep that in mind when you're booking your return tickets, or just make sure that you know what to do to change your flight if you have to, because sometimes things happen either with weather or ports or lots of other things that can delay getting in. So just make sure that you know what to do if your ship happens to be one that's delayed and you've got an early flight out. Okay. The next thing that we need to talk about is Holland America. So the Holland America New Amsterdam was set to sail on the 21st. So she was supposed to sail on Saturday. But I appreciate a Let's Go family member letting me know that is booked on that cruise. They received a notice that Holland America said that during their current voyage, so the one that is before the 21st, they experienced a technical issue with their port side azipod propulsion system. And so unfortunately fortunately they're going to repair it before the next cruise, but rather than leaving on Saturday, that cruise, they said, is going to be departing at 8 a.m. Monday morning, so today. So our Let's Go family member who was on board that let me know that they surely did sail off at 8 a.m. in the morning today as they expected. Along with that, because they had to leave late, it required some changes to their itinerary. And the reason I'm telling you all this is because it really helps with me anyway, and I hope with you, informs us as how some of these things work and some things to be prepared for. So a couple of things. So first of all, the itinerary changes. So they had to take San Juan, Puerto Rico off of their itinerary, as well as St. Thomas. They were able to add on Nassau in the Bahamas. They still get to go to Turks and Caicos as they expected, and they're going to call at Half Moon Key in the Bahamas. And so with that change, Holland America gave everybody a $250 non-refundable onboard credit. And so you can't redeem it for cash, and you cannot use it in the casino, but you can use it on anything else you want. So you can use it in the spa, in the gift shop, on drinks, on specialty dining, whatever you want. So I think that is a really nice goodwill gesture. And along with that, every passenger receives a 25% future cruise credit. So however much you paid for your cruise, that cruise fare, you get 25% of that put into your account, and so that you can use that to book another cruise. It says you can also use it for not only the cruise fare and port fees and taxes, but for your easy air flights, your pre and post cruise packages. So you could apply that, for example, if you wanted to use it like on a hotel stay before or after your cruise. So I think it's wonderful that they have flexibility what you can use that 25% future cruise credit on. Now, the other thing that I think is great that Holland America did with this is they had a shuttle available. So mind you, everybody boarded the ship as scheduled on Saturday and had the rest of Saturday and then all day of Sunday on the ship. So even though, when a ship is in port, the casino can't be open, the shops can't be open, but the spa's still open, the dining's open, everything else is going great. And so you could enjoy being on the ship, but they also ran a shuttle to a close by mall. So if people wanted to get off the ship and have a chance to go walking around and enjoy the day out a little bit, they could do that. Our Let's Go family members said they did that and really enjoyed it. I know these kind of itinerary changes are really hard, but at the same time, I think the only choice we have is to go and make the best of it. Be happy that we get to go and enjoy the ports that you get given. Now, along with that, she shared her travel. Sorry to make this too long, but this is important. So they did, as so many of us do, and we recommend, to fly in the day before you go on your cruise. But I'm starting to wonder some days if just one day early is enough. And I know that when you're taking vacation time from work, because that's what we often have to do with Gordon. Well, we always have to do with Gordon. He has a job. But when you do that one day, you think, oh, do I want to have to take another day off? But what ended up happening to them is their flights not only, so they were flying from one place to another. They had a one-stop flight over to Fort Lauderdale. I don't want to tell you where they live or anything. But that one-stop flight, so they hop on their flight and they're flying over to where they're supposed to stop. They had a 3-hour layover. That's lots of time. So first of all, the flight was delayed going. So that's okay. It was a 3-hour layover. We've still got 2 hours. We're good. They get over there and start circling because of weather. They can't land and they are taken to another place. Another city. So by the time they arrive there, they find out they're not going to get to go back to the other city. They have to reroute their flights to get down to Fort Lauderdale. And so by the time they were able to catch a flight from the place they had been diverted to over to Fort Lauderdale, they didn't get there until 8 o'clock in the morning of the day that the ship was going to depart. So keep all of that in mind and just be ready for anything. I'm really grateful that they got there in time for the ship, but if you're someone who likes to fly in the day that your cruise goes so that you don't have to take extra time off work, you don't have to pay for that hotel the night before, you might just want to think twice. I know a lot of times it works really smoothly, but a lot of times it doesn't. So just keep all of that in mind as you're scheduling your travel. And I'll look forward to seeing you tonight. I also want to talk to you a little bit more about our group cruises coming up, about the group cruise that we just had and what we've got coming up, because the ones that we have done so far, the one that we had in May and then this one to the Northern Lights, have been wonderful, and I don't think you're going to want to miss out. So I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.